What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I wanted to talk all about caliber conversions in Call of Duty and how I hope they approach caliber conversions with Modern Warfare 2. Now keep in mind this is a very early video before we know anything about Gunsmith, assuming Gunsmith even returns, but I do think Gunsmith will be returning in some capacity, and if it does, I feel there's definitely a right way and a wrong way to handle these caliber conversions, and we've seen both of those systems over the past 3 years. In my opinion, one of the worst things about Vanguard's Gunsmith system, outside of the fact that we have 10 attachments with no trade-offs, is the fact that our ammo conversions are typically either straight buffs or straight nerfs to the base version of the gun. Additionally, another issue with this that I know that many people won't care about, but for a lot of people out there they do care about, most of these conversions in Vanguard are completely unrealistic for that weapon. And I know Call of Duty isn't the most realistic game out there, it's not a milsim or anything like that. But at the end of the day, it's kind of hard to suspend disbelief when you have a BAR firing 50 BMG out of it. And while that's not my primary argument here with ammo conversions, it is an area I wanted to point out, and something I hope Modern Warfare 2 does well. I hope if they do include caliber conversions, that they are actual realistic caliber conversions. I hope to see conversions that actually exist for that specific weapon in real life, rather than always feeling the need to just include a higher caliber version of the gun as well as a lower caliber version of the gun. If there's a particular gun out there that simply doesn't have a caliber conversion, or at least a common caliber conversion for it, then it doesn't need a caliber conversion, and I would hope that they maintain authenticity in that area. And that's something that I really like about Modern Warfare 2019's Gunsmith. When it came to their caliber conversions, not every gun had it. There were a decent handful of guns that had caliber conversions, but not every gun had that option available, and that's totally fine. And with that, let's dive a little bit deeper into my more gameplay-oriented concerns when it comes to this, and my hopes for caliber conversions in the future. And this is, I basically just hope they more so follow the route of Modern Warfare 2019 when it comes to this specific section, rather than Vanguard. And we're going to look at a few examples here to illustrate my point. Now keep in mind with the examples I'm showing today, these may not be accurate, up-to-date numbers, so this isn't meant to be used as an informational video to give you the most accurate, up-to-date numbers on the guns. It's more so just to illustrate the point that I'm talking about, so I just pulled the numbers that I collected at launch with the game. And let's have a look at the M4A1 in Modern Warfare 2019, because this actually has two different caliber conversions, which is very rare for that game. We've got the base 5.56 ammo type, so you can use a standard 30-round magazine, or if you wanted extended mags, you have the option of 50 or 60 rounds as well. Then we can use a 9mm conversion, and this gives us a 32-round magazine, so you can't have any larger than that. 32 rounds is your cap. And then finally, we have the 458 SOCOM, which is a 10-round mag, and you're limited and capped at 10 rounds. So even just looking at magazine capacity, there's some careful choices to be made there. That 458 SOCOM is really going to hold you back when it comes to magazine capacity, and even 9mm will hold you back compared to the potential that you can get with the base 5.56. So it's already a careful choice that you have to make, and that's before we even look at the performance of these in-game. So let's do that, and we'll start this off with our ranges as well as our time to kill potentials. Again, this was at launch, things may have changed since then. But with this, if we use 9mm, our 4-shot kill range is significantly lower than the base 4-shot kill range of the gun. But within that shorter range, we do get a noticeably better time to kill potential due to the much higher fire rate. So there's a very clear trade-off there. If you want to play really up close and personal, yeah, this is going to be a great choice for you because you're killing faster, but you lose a ton of the versatility of your gun by significantly cutting down your maximum damage range. And speaking of that versatility, when we hop over to recoil, just focusing on 9mm versus the base right now, while it may not look so bad using 9mm because the vertical magnitude is reduced, if you look closely, you'll notice that the horizontal bounce, which is way harder to control and predict, is quite a bit higher with 9mm, so it's actually going to be generally harder to be hitting shots with 9mm, especially at longer ranges. So the trade-off for selecting 9mm is very obvious here. If you want to go more in the direction of close-range dominance while sacrificing the versatility of your gun, 9mm is the way to go. But it's by no means an obvious choice for this gun. It's more of a specialty choice where if you want to try something very different with this gun and treat it more like an SMG, then you can go in that direction. And it's a similar story with the 458 SOCOM, and this is why I chose the M4A1 in this case, because you have a lower caliber as well as a higher caliber option. And with this, we can now get a 3-shot kill at any range, I believe it was, or at least it had a very significant range. And our time to kill is noticeably better within all of these ranges compared to the base version of the gun. However, when we have a look at recoil, keeping in mind this is just 10 bullets fired versus 30 when you look at the base. So in that case, your recoil is significantly higher with 458 SOCOM. Plus, you are hard capped at a 10-round magazine. You can never do any better than that. So once again, it might be an interesting choice to use 458 SOCOM, and you definitely can gain some benefits from that by having a better time to kill potential at any range. However, you're not going to be nearly as accurate, and you're going to have a much harder time dealing with multiple enemies due to that very small magazine capacity. So this right here is a great example of how to properly handle caliber conversions. Neither of these different calibers are obvious choices by any means, and there are significant trade-offs in both areas. Now, let's contrast that with the STG-44 in Vanguard at launch. Now, keep in mind, these values have definitely changed, especially with 7.62 Gorenko, but this is what we were dealing with for the majority of Vanguard's life cycle up until now. With this, our base ammo is 8mm Kurtz, and it has a standard 30-round magazine, but we can bump that up to 45 rounds. Whereas if we use 7.62 Gorenko, which is the lower caliber ammo in this case, we will be limited to a 30-round mag, or we can use 30 Russian short, which is the higher caliber ammo in this case, and with this you can use either a 20 or 30-round magazine. In either case, neither of these alternative calibers really require any sacrifice when it comes to our magazine capacity. Then let's have a look at our ranges and time to kill values, and we'll first focus on the lower caliber ammo, and as you can see here, now the gun is a 5-shot kill up close instead of a 4-shot kill. And even though we get a boost to our rate of fire with this ammo type, it isn't enough to even make a dent in the loss of our time to kill potential with this. We're killing significantly slower at 372 milliseconds, and that right there effectively eliminated this from being a viable option. There was no good reason to be using 7.62 Gorenko on the STG-44 before the recent patch that we got, but like I said, we're just focusing on how this worked for the majority of the life cycle. And when we have a look at the higher caliber ammo, 30 Russian short, this one increases our maximum damage range while simultaneously turning it into a 3-shot kill and massively improving our time to kill potential. And you would think when you have something like this, you would see a huge spike in the amount of recoil that we have. There's gotta be a big trade-off to selecting this. But when we look at the recoil comparison here, sure, you have a little bit more recoil when using 30 Russian short, but it's still a very accurate and controllable gun, and especially when you consider the fact that we have 10 attachments on our gun at any given time, you can very easily make up for this recoil discrepancy, and you can make the 30 Russian short just as accurate as the base version of the gun. So why would you ever use the base ammo type on this gun when 30 Russian short is a clear and massive upgrade to your gun? Now, I will say in some ways the STG is a bit of an exception because we have the vital proficiency, but not all guns have this, and we did see this trend with guns that didn't have access to vital. So again, this is more so just trying to prove the point that this is a vastly inferior caliber conversion system. There's no real trade-off here. You're not giving up much in return for this massive improvement to your gun, and this is the wrong way to handle caliber conversions. So when it comes to Modern Warfare 2, I hope they follow suit with Modern Warfare 2019's caliber conversions, where they're a bit more rare, they're not necessarily forced onto every single gun in the game, and the main thing is I want to see some significant trade-offs. I don't mind if a caliber conversion adds a ton of power to the gun in one specific area, as long as that comes with a balanced trade-off. And with this, I feel this would not only improve overall weapon balance pretty considerably, but also I feel like this gives a much more consistent and controlled experience time to kill in the game. That was another problem with the conversions in Vanguard. I honestly feel like the base time to kill of this game, if we had no attachments equipped on our guns, I think it's basically perfect for a Call of Duty game. The problem only starts to come in when you include these caliber conversions that massively improve our time to kill potential in many cases. So I don't want to see a return of that, and I think it does help them balance guns better if you don't give caliber conversions that sort of power. And then on top of this, I feel like keeping caliber conversions more of a trade-off and more of a rare instance will also bring a lot of the character back into the guns. And this is yet another issue with the Gunsmith that I found in Vanguard when it comes to caliber conversions, as well as 10 attachments. I feel like the guns themselves have lost a lot of their individual character because you have so much control with customization that you can mold every gun into the gun that you want it to be to fit your one playstyle, rather than having to adapt your playstyle to learn how to master that gun. And learning how to use a gun effectively and playing to its strengths while avoiding its weaknesses and making adjustments to your playstyle to better fit that weapon's role, I think that provides a lot more depth to the gameplay experience than simply molding the gun to the playstyle that you've already mastered and use on a game-to-game basis. Now, of course, all of this is just my opinion, and this is where I want to hear from you guys in the comments section down below. When it comes to Modern Warfare 2, assuming the Gunsmith carries over, and assuming we do have some sort of caliber conversion available, how would you like them to handle these caliber conversions? Do you prefer more of the Modern Warfare 2019 system, where there are serious trade-offs and the caliber conversions basically create a totally different gun rather than just straight up buffing or nerfing your gun? Or do you prefer Vanguard style, where it's a lot more consistent, where every gun's got a high caliber and a low caliber option, and at least generally speaking, one of those options is going to be an obvious buff or an obvious nerf compared to the base ammo type? Just let me know all of those thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.